The silent arrival. The hum of monitors and the occasional clicking of keyboards filled the dimly lit control room of Deep Space Monitoring Station 14. Nestled deep in the Alaskan wilderness, it was one of Earth's most advanced early warning stations, scanning the cosmos for anomalies, be it rogue asteroids, distant supernovae, or, on rare occasions, something unknown. Lieutenant Mark Callahan sat hunched over his desk, staring at a screen filled with blinking telemetry data. He had been on shift for nearly 10 hours, sipping from a now-cold cup of coffee, expecting another uneventful night. Then the alarms blared. A red warning flash painted the entire control room in an eerie glow. Mark jolted upright, heart hammering, as the station's AI system spoke in its cool, emotionless voice. Unidentified object detected. Size: 1.2 kilometers. Velocity: 0.2 c. Origin: unknown. Trajectory: Earth. For a moment, he thought it was a system glitch, a craft moving at 20% the speed of light. That was impossible. No human-built vessel could achieve such speeds. He ran 3 separate diagnostics, but the readings remained unchanged. "Jesus," he whispered, before slamming his hand down on the emergency alert button. Within minutes, the station's command center erupted into chaos. Scientists, analysts, and military personnel flooded in, their faces tense as they crowded around the massive central display. Brigadier General Samuel Vasquez stepped forward, his sharp eyes scanning the data. He was a seasoned military strategist, a man who had seen combat across multiple war zones, and yet nothing in his experience had prepared him for this. "Tell me what I'm looking at," he demanded. Mark swallowed hard. "It's an alien vessel, sir. The energy signatures are off the charts, unlike anything we've ever encountered." The room fell into stunned silence. Even in an age of interstellar probes and deep space research, actual contact with extraterrestrial life had always been a theory, a hope, never a reality. Until now. Then something even stranger happened. The ship stopped. Not slowed down. Not changed course. It came to a dead stop, just outside Earth's orbit. The physics of such a maneuver were absurd. At those speeds, stopping like that should have obliterated anything inside due to inertia. And yet, it hovered perfectly still above the planet, like a predator watching its prey. Vasquez exhaled sharply. "Get me the president." The watchers in the void. Miles above the Earth, aboard the alien vessel Zerith Prime, Supreme Strategist Corvan observed the blue-green planet below with a growing sense of unease. The Zyrith Dominion had traversed countless galaxies, conquering lesser civilizations with unmatched efficiency. They had dismantled empires, wiped out entire species, and consumed worlds without resistance. No species had ever terrified them. Until now. Corvan's black, featureless eyes scanned the incoming data. His ship's bioscanners had begun a comprehensive analysis of the planet's lifeforms, standard procedure before planetary subjugation. At first, the readings were consistent with most life-bearing worlds. Then the deviations appeared. Life on this planet was different. "Report," Corvan commanded, his deep, resonant voice filling the chamber. A scientist named Valak, one of the Dominion's most brilliant minds, hesitated before speaking. "Supreme Strategist, the planet's biodiversity is unlike anything in our records. The dominant species, designated humans, exhibit traits that should not coexist." Corvan narrowed his gaze. "Explain." Valak's tendrils trembled slightly as he gestured toward the holographic display. "Humans are predators, yet they possess cognitive abilities rivaling, perhaps surpassing, our own. Their evolution is not based on harmony, but on conflict, survival, and adaptation through extreme adversity." He paused before adding, "It is unnatural." Corvan leaned closer. "Unnatural? How?" Valak hesitated. "This planet has produced the most efficient hunters we've ever seen. Not only are there countless predatory species, but the humans themselves have refined the art of killing beyond comprehension. Their entire history is built on warfare. Their civilizations rise and fall through conquest. Even now, they maintain vast arsenals capable of planetary devastation. The Supreme Strategist's grip on his command console tightened. The Zereth had never encountered a species that thrived on war. Most intelligent civilizations evolved away from conflict, choosing cooperation for survival. But this species embraced war as part of its identity. Horrifying turned to the xenopsychologist, a being tasked with understanding the minds of lesser species. "What do you see?" The analyst's skin pulsed an uneasy shade of violet. "They are different from us in every way. They possess emotions that defy logic. They fight not just for survival, but for ideals, for revenge, for glory. Their concept of sacrifice is unlike anything we have studied. Even in the face of death, they refuse to yield." He paused before uttering the most chilling words of his career. "They are not prey. They are predators who refuse to be conquered." A deathly silence filled the bridge. The message from the stars. The world watched in stunned silence as the first alien visitors in human history arrived, and then fled in apparent terror. The Zyreth mothership, a colossal construct of shifting, liquid metal alloys, had hovered for mere minutes above Earth before vanishing in a sudden, desperate burst of acceleration. The shockwave from their departure rattled satellites, triggered atmospheric anomalies, and sent tremors through military bases worldwide. In an instant, first contact had ended, but it had left behind more questions than answers. The data that didn't make sense. Lieutenant Mark Callahan had barely moved from his chair. His hands trembled as he stared at the fading telemetry on his screen. A part of him wondered if he'd hallucinated the whole event, but the hard numbers disagreed. The aliens had run, not retreated, not maneuvered. They had fled, at speeds beyond human comprehension. Behind him, General Samuel Vasquez barked orders into a secure line. "I need a full data analysis on that ship's energy signature, movement pattern, and..." He paused, glancing at the lead scientist in the room, Dr. Hannah Grayson. "And I want an explanation. Why the hell did they run?" Hannah, a renowned astrophysicist and xenobiologist, shook her head in disbelief. "General, I don't think they ran because of our weapons." "Then why?" Vasquez asked. She hesitated, looking at the incoming bioscan readings from the Zereth ship. "Because of us." Mark's fingers tightened on his console. "What do you mean, because of us?" Hannah exhaled slowly. "I mean, they weren't scanning our technology, General. They weren't analyzing our satellites, our nuclear warheads, or our defenses. They were scanning life itself. Every ecosystem, every predator, every living thing down to its DNA." Her fingers flew over the keyboard, pulling up the last scans taken before the alien ship bolted from orbit. The global heat map showed spikes of intense scrutiny over the planet's most diverse regions: rainforests, oceans, savannas, and especially human population centers. General Vasquez's frown deepened. "They weren't looking at our cities." "No," Hannah confirmed. "They were studying how we survive. And what they found must have horrified them." She hesitated before pressing a final key. The biological scan from the Zereth mothership appeared on the main screen. The entire control room fell silent. It wasn't just Earth's vast biodiversity that had triggered an anomaly. It wasn't even the sheer number of apex predators: lions, sharks, wolves, bears. It was one species: humans. The Zyreth's final scan had focused entirely on us. The terror of intelligence. In the command bridge of the Zereth vessel, Supreme Strategist Horrifying struggled to compose himself. He had conquered entire star systems, extinguished resistance on worlds where empires once flourished, and crushed species before they had even reached interstellar flight. Fear had never been part of his existence. Until now. The Zyreth were apex predators in their own right, highly evolved, biologically superior, with near-perfect intelligence designed for subjugation. But what they had just discovered on Earth should not exist. A species that hunted like beasts, but thought like gods. A predator with the capacity to build, learn, and evolve beyond its own limitations. Horrifying turned to the lead synapsepsychologist, Galactic, whose skin pulsed erratically, a Zyrith sign of distress. "Explain it," Horrifying commanded. Galactic's voice trembled. "The humans. They are an aberration. No other intelligent species in the Dominion's records follows this pattern." Horrifying narrowed his dark eyes. "Pattern." Galactic hesitated before speaking. "All advanced civilizations we have encountered evolve through cooperation. Intelligence develops through harmony, mutual survival, shared instincts. Even our own kind rose to dominance not through predation, but through strategy and calculated conquest." He swallowed, looking at the data. "But humans, they evolved through conflict. Their survival depends on war. They have never known peace. Their history is a cycle of violence, each generation surpassing the last in methods of destruction." Horrifying studied the genetic markers of human evolution, watching thousands of years of warfare, survival, and adaptation play out on the display. It was terrifyingly efficient. "They do not just hunt," Galactic whispered. "They improve. They innovate their own destruction." The Zyrith leader's voice turned to ice. "You're telling me that humanity's greatest weapon is not their technology, but their very nature?" Galactic's voice dropped to a whisper. "Yes." Silence. Then, "Prepare a system-wide transmission. Earth's ominous signal." Back at Deep Space Monitoring Station 14, the room exploded into action as new alerts flashed across the monitors. Mark's hands shook as he read the message that had just appeared from the edge of the solar system. General." Vasquez turned, his face lined with tension. "What is it, Callahan?" Mark swallowed hard. "We're receiving a signal. It's coming from the alien ship." For the first time, every radio telescope on Earth detected the same transmission, beamed across all known communication channels, as if meant to be heard by the entire cosmos. The AI auto-translation kicked in. The room fell dead silent as the words scrolled across the screen. "Warning. The world designated Earth is classified as a death world. Dominant species, Homo sapiens. Threat level, extermination class anomaly. Warning to all galactic civilizations. Do not approach, do not engage. Leave this world alone." The signal repeated, broadcasting further and further into space. Mark's breath caught in his throat. "They're not just leaving," Hannah whispered, staring at the screen in horror. "They're warning the entire galaxy about us." A ripple of unease spread through the room. If the aliens were afraid enough to flee, how would other species react? Would they heed the warning? Or would they come to destroy the monsters of Earth before it was too late? The warning reaches the stars. The Zyrith transmission was still echoing through the void, traveling at light speed toward every corner of the galaxy. The message was simple. Earth was not to be approached. Humanity had no idea just how far the warning would spread. A new concern on Earth. At Deep Space Monitoring Station 14, tension filled the room. General Vasquez, his jaw clenched, stood motionless as he read the message on the screen for the 10th time. The words repeated, each line drilling into his mind like a silent war cry from the stars. Threat level. Extermination class anomaly. Do not approach. Do not engage. Leave this world alone. Mark Callahan wiped the sweat off his palms, his throat dry. The room had gone eerily silent, as if everyone inside had collectively stopped breathing. They weren't just the first species to encounter aliens. They were the first species to have terrified them. Dr. Hannah Grayson broke the silence. "Sir, this isn't just a warning. It's a broadcast to every advanced species in the galaxy." She turned to Vasquez, her face pale. "We don't know who else is out there, or how they'll react." The general exhaled slowly. "So what do we do now?" She hesitated. "We prepare." The reality sank in. There was no telling whether the Zyrith warning would keep other species away or attract something even worse. The Council of Elders, listening from afar. 6,000 light-years away, deep within the massive galactic core, a council of ancient species convened in a floating city suspended above a dying star. The HFY, an elder race with crystalline bodies and minds like supercomputers, had intercepted the Zereth warning just hours after it was sent. Their leader, High Elder Excelvar, stood over a holographic display of Earth, the image flickering as real-time data continued to update. "This cannot be ignored," Selvar intoned, his voice resonating through the chamber like a chorus of bells. The Vraxian warlords, a reptilian species that had conquered hundreds of worlds, hissed in agreement. "A death world," growled Overlord Jerkesh, his crimson eyes narrowing. "Impossible. No sentient species can evolve under such conditions." A low, vibrating hum came from the Osiri, an ancient race of psionic beings whose civilization had ruled entire star systems before the Zereth even emerged. "The Zereth do not flee without cause," said Osiri Prime Adareth, his ethereal form shimmering with energy. "They have faced countless wars. If they ran, then something about this Earth is a danger to us all." A murmur of unease spread through the chamber. The Galactic Council had existed for eons, governing civilizations, preventing chaos, keeping peace, and now something had shaken the balance. Zelvar turned to the archivists, the oldest record keepers in the known galaxy. "Do we have any historical data on this world?" A giant ancient machine hummed to life, its glowing core pulsating as it searched through countless millennia of records. Then, after a long pause, it spoke. "No records found. This species is unaccounted for. Earth is unclassified." The council fell silent. A species with no history, no footprint in the galactic archives, had managed to send one of the most fearsome empires in the galaxy running in terror. The question was not just what happened, but what are they hiding? Zelvar spoke the words that would shape the future of the galaxy. "We must investigate Earth." The Watchers in the dark. The Zereth fleet was still in motion, burning through space at impossible speeds. Supreme Strategist Korvan sat in his command chamber, his mind racing. "Sir," Valak said carefully, "we have completed the secondary analysis." Korvan nodded. "Go on." Valak hesitated, as if the words physically pained him. "It is worse than we thought." He brought up the last segment of their scan on Earth. The humans were not just predators. They were the only species in the known universe to have systematically conquered their own planet. "They are the first intelligent race we have encountered that has committed planetary-scale warfare upon itself," Valak murmured. The screen flickered, displaying thousands of years of human conflict, wars fought over land, resources, ideology, and power. Nations rising and falling, empires built on blood and innovation. Korvan stared at the data. "Other species fight," he mused. "We fight." "Yes," Valak admitted, "but there is something different about them." The screen changed again, now showing something that sent a chill through the Zereth crew. It was a battlefield, but not a war between nations. It was a training ground. Humans practiced war. They simulated their own destruction, again and again, refining their strategies, improving their weapons, perfecting the art of annihilation. "They do not fear death," Valak whispered. "They prepare for it." Korvan clenched his jaw. This was a species that did not just fight to survive. They fought to win. Earth's next move. Back on Earth, scientists and military leaders worked tirelessly to decode the remnants of the alien signal. "This is bigger than we imagined," Dr. Hannah Grayson muttered, scrolling through her notes. "We're not just dealing with a warning." Mark Callahan frowned. "What do you mean?" She turned her screen toward him. "The Zereth didn't just classify us as a death world. They flagged us as an evolving threat." Mark's stomach twisted. General Vasquez exhaled sharply. "Then the question is simple." He turned to his team. "Do we stay hidden, or do we prove them right?" Silence filled the room. Humanity had been given a choice. They could lay low, let the stars fear them, and remain the unknown terror lurking in the dark. Or they could rise and show the universe why the Zereth ran.